Welcome back to In Ohio Country today, and joining me now is Tyler Black from the Johnny Appleseed Metropolitan Park District. We're here at Herman Woodlands here in Allen County. Beautiful place, Tyler.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's one of our newer parks here in the past 5 or 6 years, and just a great time to be outside, spring in Ohio.
Yeah, it really is. It's a beautiful time. It's always beautiful when you're in the parks like this. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you see here in Ohio?
Yeah, so you've got kind of the great expanse of different types of parks. You've got, your active recreation parks from baseball diamonds, softball diamonds, that kind of thing that you see a little more closer to cities. And then out and about basically around the state, you see state parks that have a mission of connecting people with nature, very similar to park districts. Park districts in Ohio are basically one per county. And there's not every county has a park district. But the cool thing is we're a separate political subdivision of the state. So we're kind of our own entity. We have park districts in Ohio have their own board of commissioners. So they don't answer necessarily to county commissioners, but they answer to their own board. So pretty unique situation, and again, more conservation-minded, passive recreation, hiking trails, biking trails, that kind of thing, versus a lot of the active stuff.
What is the funding behind most parks? I mean, where do these funds come from to keep them maintained and up and running in a pleasant environment for our general public to enjoy?
Right, so state parks and more of the active recreation parks throughout the state, they've got a little bit different form of funding than park districts. Park districts themselves, which is what the Johnny Appleseed Park District is, along with places like Cleveland Metro Parks, Toledo Metro Parks, and a lot of the other park districts, get their funding mostly from tax levies, property tax levies, which is a pretty unpopular tax when you really break it down from a taxing standpoint, but it does help with quality of life things, people living in the county, taking care of the things that they have within their county. And it really does go a long way from the standpoint of being able to provide hiking trails, being able to provide programming, nature education, and it's a really interesting and unique kind of form of getting your funding. So.
Well, and on top of the fact that, you have to have the monies to be able to operate, you also expand on a regular basis. We see park districts like the Johnny Appleseed Metropolitan Park District expanding over the last 20 years. What's that process? What happens when somebody says, hey, I want to donate my land to this park district?
Yeah, so a lot of the time, grants come into play big time. So you've got to have that levy funding. You've got to have that local match. A lot of times throughout the state, you've got programs like the Clean Ohio Fund, Nature Works, those kind of things that are administered more from the state level. And you've got to have the money at the local level to match some of those grants and that money that they can provide to help parks grow, to help parks upgrade, to help those kind of things move forward. So the park district, the Johnny Appleseed Park District, has a foundation, the Park District Foundation of Allen County, and that's a really good way for people to be able to donate property, donate different assets, that kind of thing, to help park districts, and especially our park district, move the mission forward.
What's really amazing, too, is that the diversity of opportunities to experience the different parks within the district is what's really exciting, whether it's for fishing, camping, hiking, boating. It's amazing. And here today at Herman Woodlands, we've got a nice little educational opportunity taking place as well. So talk a little bit about that diversity and what you guys do from an educational standpoint, too.
Yeah, so a lot of it's changed over the years. We started in 1972. The park district was founded in 72. And at that time, you had a couple parks and there were some opportunities for hiking and maybe picnicking with your family. But, man, over the years, things have really changed. You look at Ottawa Metro Park on the east side of the county, and we've got a 30-acre campsite or campground there. We've got kayak access that's going in this spring on Lima Lake, and then you come out to Kendrick Woods and you can walk through one of a few dedicated state nature preserves in this part of the state. and just seeing the diversity that's out there from playgrounds. I mean, kids, families, moms, dads, grandparents, like they love playgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
And just to see the upgrades that we've been able to do in the past 8 to 10 years when it comes to playgrounds, it has been pretty special. So.
You know, it's really cool, like we mentioned, as far as the diversity is concerned, but with all that land and with all that equipment, you have to have the personnel to be able to operate it. So let's talk about the people who are behind the scenes, not just, the people that are helping to, put this together, but the people who are there to maintain it. It's got to be a heck of a chore to get the right people to do what needs to be done to make sure that it's a pleasant experience, right?
Yeah, definitely. So the park district, from a efficiency standpoint, from a staffing standpoint, we've got 20 full-time people at this point. We've got a couple part-time people that are more program environmental education based. But we've got 5 different departments in the park district. We've got obviously the administrative side of things, which is always probably not the most interesting to talk about. But then you talk about maintenance of the parks, painting, cleaning restrooms, that kind of thing. We've got the natural resources management side of things, where you're going out and maintaining conservation areas for the betterment of wildlife, but also for the betterment of people, and people being able to be connected to nature. We obviously have the safety side of things with park rangers. I think a lot of people just think everybody fits into that bucket of being a park ranger. But they're a special group of people, and they do keep parks safe, and they keep an eye on things. And then really kind of one of the bread and butters of the park district is environmental programming. So having naturalists that go out and into the schools. They also have schools to the parks. They have public programming in the evenings. And we really cater to everybody from very young to the young at heart. So, yeah, it's a special group of people, and they work really hard. I give them all the credit for things that are done, just because they're the boots on the ground. They're the engine that keeps running. So
no question about it. Yeah. No question about it. What are some of the more statewide or nationwide events that you attend to maybe learn a little bit about what's happening? Is there a consortium of sorts, if you will, as far as the park districts here in the Buckeye State?
Yeah, so one really good asset, and one really good form of communication between everybody in the state of Ohio from a park district standpoint, but really from a park standpoint, is the Ohio Parks and Recreation Association. It's the state association that kind of brings everybody together. There's an annual meeting that we have, an annual conference that we have every end of January, early February every year. And speakers, that kind of thing that kind of get your mind going to think about new initiatives, new ideas that you can implement in your parks. Yeah. And then we're also part of the National Recreation and Parks Association. So that's obviously United States, nationwide. Yeah. Pretty cool area from the standpoint of sharing information. We're all going through some of the same stuff no matter what field you're in. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel. And there's people that have been through some of that stuff before. So.
What's interesting, too, is the fact that, we have such a great variety of parks here in the Buckeye State. But what you've done here in Allen County is truly amazing. Over the last 20 years, the metamorphosis, if you will, the changes and the beauty and the diversity of parks that people can come and be a part of and get back connected to nature. And I think it's important, regardless of where you're at as far as politics are concerned. I think we can all agree that even our farming community, that environmental issues are important to us, and it really starts with the education. And we talked about, there's a group, an elementary school group, going through Herman Woodlands here today, and that communication that you guys have with the general public is really important. So once again, let's talk about that more specifically and what you guys are trying to achieve with funding as far as the Johnny Appleseed Metropolitan Park District.
Yeah, so really I think one of the main things to take home, at least that I focus on, and I know our focuses on a lot, is just the health and mental health aspects of being outside. There's the physical and the mental, right? And really, even more so today, just with the things that have been going on. COVID happened back in 2020, and we all had to deal with that, right? So I always lean back on the fact that the parks were there, the parks were open, people were able to get out and walk down a trail outside in fresh air and see other people, when at that time and at other times in people's lives that maybe they might feel a certain way, that they're pretty isolated, or even then everybody was isolated, right? So just seeing that opportunity for people to be able to get outside, enjoy nature. There's just the health aspect of sitting in nature and listening to the sounds and that kind of thing. So, and really from the mission of the Park District standpoint, that's what it's about. It's about connecting people with nature, and not just this generation, but generations to come. So when you look at funding, it's one of those things. It's like, it's very important from the standpoint of being responsible with what we have. And there's a lot of people that came before me and before the people that are here now that were responsible for that. And I think that's a testament to where we are today, and just seeing that, fostering that growth, continuing that conservative way of dealing with things and spending has been a pretty major focus for us. So
I guess the buzzword today, both in our farming community as well as business, is ROI, return on investment. And you could see every dollar that you invest in something like Johnny Appleseed Metropolitan Park District, or a park district near you, you get back probably tenfold whatever you put into it. It's just an incredible return on your investment, and it's worth every penny of it. And Tyler Black has been our guest. Tyler, before we let you go, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in this position?
Yeah, so born and raised here in Ohio. Lived in Bellefontaine for a time, and before I was really into grade school, moved back to Lima. Graduated from Bath High School in 2010, which everybody thinks, oh man, that wasn't that long ago, which I guess it really wasn't. But worked for the Park District for a time as a seasonal maintenance technician, and went away, went to college for wildlife services, and worked for the Forest Service for a while out west. Came back and wanted to start a family, and all of our family was right here in Ohio, right here in Allen County. So that's kind of the history of it. Got on full time with the Park District in 2016, and it's been a really crazy ride since then. So took over as the director in 2020 in July, and it's been really good. It's been really good.
Well, your predecessor was somebody that you've got big shoes to fill in Kevin Haver, and we've all admired what he was able to do to expand and improve the Park District. So you certainly have some big shoes to fill. But let me tell you this, I think it's important that you have that personal passion. So before we leave, talk about what this means to you, not just from a career standpoint, but that personal passion about what the Park Districts mean to you.
Right. So, growing up, I was never really integrated into being outside. It was always sports. It was always baseball, which I love all that stuff, right? But there's something different about being able to be outside, seeing things come back to life in the spring, how the cycle of things happens throughout the year. And then really, I've got 3 kids, a wife at home, and I think it's really important from the standpoint of just, again, that mental and physical health that you can get not only from our parks, but anywhere around the state. I think it's really important just to, for me and for my family, just to see those things continue to be fostered. So that's really where my heart's at. I care about the people that work for us. I care about the people that use our parks. I want safety for everyone. I want people to have an experience that maybe they've never had before, and I think we can offer that to them. So it's a pretty unique position to be in, and I'm really blessed to be in it. So
yeah, for more information, you can always check them out on the web at JAMPD.com. That's JAMPD.com. We'll have a link to that at our website at OhioCountry.com as well. Tyler Black has been our guest. Tyler, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dan.
And I encourage you to continue to support your park districts throughout the Buckeye State and just enjoy nature at its finest here in Ohio. We'll be back with more In Ohio Country today, right after this.